Every year around Halloween, I do a bit of a debrief of the previous year, and this year was a little much. But I am looking forward to next year, and I'm currently making my plans for what I want to focus on in terms of content, what I want to focus on for the community, and what I think is important for us to think about as authors for the whole next year. So, given the fact that I've coached more than 6,000 authors, I've been doing the coaching for more than 10 years, I've been an author myself for longer than that. I hope that you'll consider listening to me because, again, some of these things are not going to be new information, but the importance of focusing on them is going to be important, I think, for the entire community and potentially for the whole world, not just for us, although some of it's going to be really limited to publishing. But I hope you'll stick around and listen to the 5 things I think we need to focus on in 2026. Come with me. First of all, I'll say I just got back from a conference, and so it's no surprise that number one on my list is something that is very important to me because I do make time to go to those conferences and have seen the benefit of being able to be in community with all of my writer friends. And the first thing I think we need to focus on in 2026 is in-person community. In-person community for writing and in-person community for friendships. I was talking to Claire Taylor, who's a good friend of mine. She's recently done a complete social media detox. She's left social media. She doesn't have the apps on her phone. She doesn't log into them online. She's completely gone from social media. And I was discussing with her, asking her to come on the podcast so we could interview her. But I was discussing one of the upsides of what has happened for her, and that is it's made her focus a lot more on her local community and on being in person with people that she really cares about. And I thought about this. I'm currently in a long distance relationship, so I spend a lot of my time on the phone, either texting or calling or video chatting and doing different app games and trying to stay engaged on a day-to-day basis when the world is coming at us both from where we live. And it is both fun and challenging, but it has made me realize how much that in-person community gets moved when you're with them. So when I'm together with him, when he's here or when I'm there, it changes our entire life. Our phones become less important, our computers become less important, work becomes less important. And yes, this is the beginning of a relationship, so that happens. We want to go do things together, we want to get to know each other, etc. But also, it is important that this rule plays. This is something that is consistent across all people. Our relationships make us who we are. Our relationships are often the things that we're here for. And yes, there are other things that are exciting and fun. And yes, there are other things that are important. But we neglect our in-person relationships when we become so tied and attached to digital relationships or virtual relationships. Great and wonderful if we have those, great and wonderful if those are flourishing. And also, if we have times when we can't access our apps, we have times when we can't get on Messenger, we have times when we can't be on Discord, or when we can't be on the Patreon or YouTube or whatever it is, right? When those places become less trustworthy, when they become less easy to access, when things go down and don't work, it becomes really important for us to have that in-person community. And if we don't work on it, if we don't intentionally create it, it is not going to be there when we need it. And so I hope that you will listen to me in intentionally doing in-person things with people, with other writers and with friends and family. If you can't do in-person things with other writers, you can ignore me. I absolutely know there are exceptions to every rule, but I want us as a global community to start thinking about increasing our veracity of relationships locally. So in-person community is my number one. If you go to betterfasteracademy.com/events, you'll start to see us populate that page with more and more in-person events so that I can facilitate as much as possible things happening with you on a local basis. We've been doing this for a few years and it's been great, but we're intentionally sort of doubling down on this over the course of the next year and potentially longer than that. So one of the things I did in the Kickstarter, which we will likely do in future Kickstarters, is to get people to do in-person pop-up events with me where you decide where we're going to have it and then we all sort of advertise and try and get people there so that we can have a lot of local community present and then get people to meet each other, get people to see someone they haven't seen in a long time, to reconnect, to make new friends, and then encouraging people through our Discord channel to keep up with each other locally and to arrange more in-person things throughout the year. And that will become even more a huge part of the BFA over the course of the next year. So please be on the lookout for that. betterfasteracademy.com/events. Beyond that, you need friends. It is hard to make friends sometimes. I recognize that. I've been in that space for several years, having moved to a new city. It is not easy. And also, we need to do things that are hard for us to do. There's so much at our fingertips that's trying to make life easier for us. And when we take the easy route, we're often cheating ourselves out of doing the thing that will help us get what we really need. So I'm going to encourage you to try not taking the easy route and to do the hard thing and to make more friends and to make plans with people and to keep those plans and to get out of the house. And then we will get into the next thing I want us to focus on in 2026, which is and to put the phone down, Kevin. Please, please, please get into the regular habit of putting your phone away for long periods of time, preparing people that you won't be able to talk to them, preparing people that you'll be inaccessible and won't know what's going on. But we are so held at the throat by this fear of missing out on whatever it is that we might miss out on, that we just can't disconnect ourselves from our phones. And the number of people that I've been doing coaching with in the last several months who the only thing I'm asking them to do is please just stop being so connected. Please stop being on social media all the time. Please stop being on your phone all the time. This is imperative. It is affecting your mental health. Please consider walking away from the phone for long periods of time. My goal starting in January is going to be, and we will see if I can make this happen, but my goal is to start my days every day without the phone. And it's going to be difficult, right? I'm in a long distance relationship. That means I don't get to talk to my boyfriend for several hours in the morning, whether he's awake and available to talk or not, doesn't matter. I have to miss out on the opportunity to talk to him because he's not here. And so I need to focus on what's in front of me and I need to focus on the life that I have and I need to focus on not being on my phone and on the computer so much. So I'm going to encourage us to set goals for ourselves whenever possible on a daily basis. I'm not as interested in, I won't do this for the whole year sort of things. What I'm interested in is, can we just put into practice, and you can start today, you don't have to wait for 2026, put into practice being phoneless for long periods of time. Put your phone in the desk drawer while you're working. Do not connect it texting to your computer. Put your phone in on the counter and leave for the day and don't take it with you. Don't take your watch with you. Don't take your phone with you. We have this compulsion now to be so connected, and it's just not great for our mental health. Please think about putting the phone down for long periods of time. Please. It's important. Okay, number three, if you're familiar with our energy pennies mentality in terms of there are some things that drain you and some things that make you energy, and there are things that make you small amounts of energy and then medium amounts and then larger amounts. So like 1 penny, 5 cents, 25 cents, $1, that kind of thing, right? And then there are things that drain you, 1 penny, 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, right? In both directions. And so many times we're focusing, especially lately, on trying to get rid of the negative drains. And I have tried with some of you beyond all reason to try to get people to get rid of negative drains. And that requires you to face your fears about things. And so there's only so much encouragement I can do about that. And then you have to do the work of the courage, right? But beyond that, there is the in the bank positive penny making experience, so doing something that gives me energy, something that energizes me to a certain, doing something that energizes me to a level that I notice that it's giving me energy. I'm excited about it. It's giving me forward motion, helping me make progress. I want you to do some kind of assessment for yourself. You don't have to use our materials, but just do some kind of assessment for yourself where you track what makes me feel great, what doesn't, what makes me feel great, what doesn't, and try to do more of the things that make you feel great more often. Try to do little things that make you feel small amounts of positive energy, like small, tiny things like having a new plant or hugging your pet or kissing your partner or rereading positive emails that you got from readers. Really, anything that gives you a plunk of energy into that energy penny bank. Because as we get more and more drains that are coming after us, we have got to keep up with the positive energy pennies, or we are not going to be able to survive. Like we'll be in burnout, and then where will we be, right? We've all been there before. Obviously, I want us to keep addressing the negative drains, but that's going to be hard for some of us because some of the negative drains are things that we either are required to do, work, or people sometimes, or there is so much wrapped up in not doing the thing. So, one of the examples that somebody gave me this week was deciding to go no contact with a narcissistic parent, right? Like the amount of drain that is on your life to be constantly at the beck and call of a narcissistic parent is really intense. And when we were discussing this, they were saying, well, that is the biggest drain on a lot of people's lives. And also, there's a reason why people don't get rid of that drain because we are all coded, hard coded to believe that we shouldn't do that, that it's bad to do that. And the more people that have, and I have coached so many people and gone through this with so many of my friends in the last few years where they had to decide they're going to segment themselves from someone who's not good for them. And they had to just go no contact with someone, or they had to cut off a relationship, or they had to get divorced, or they had to do whatever it was that was draining them. And it was very difficult and required a lot of courage and also absolutely worth doing, and they would do it again, right? It's just that the what it looks like courageous wise on the front side where you haven't yet completed it, you haven't yet started, is so scary that it takes a lot of people a lot of time to be able to get to that place. But when they are past it, it feels so much better and they're so much happier with their lives. So again, I encourage people to do this negative drain work. And yeah, no surprise, I'm going to just go there because as much as I want us to do the positive penny stuff, I know if we don't work on the negative drains, all the positive pennies in the world aren't going to save you from that. If there's a big, big drain or a leak in your energy there. So take it for what you will. I promise I'll stop talking about it. Oh, wait, never mind. Number four. So that was number three. Number four is quitting the right stuff. This is imperative for me. So I mentioned going to a conference last week, which by the time this airs will now be a couple of weeks ago. But I mentioned going to a conference and um, I was commenting with one of the people who'd been to several of these in the past. We see each other at a lot of these conferences, and I was commenting to someone like, I don't recognize a huge portion of the people on vendor day. Like a large portion of people are brand new to me, never seen them before. But my friend kind of looked at me and he was like, well, but they won't be here in a couple of years or 2 or 3 years or even next year. And it shocked me to sort of think about that because it is definitely true that there are so many things that we all think we should be doing. And eventually we have to decide, I'm not going to do that, right? Like, There is no ability for us to just indefinitely do things that don't yield. There's not an ability for us to indefinitely do things we can't have hope for. So my goal in getting us to quit the right things, and as I'm standing there looking at sort of all of the people who are represented, both the people, the authors who were talking to the vendors and the vendors themselves, and all the people who are represented in that day, and I kept thinking, like, I want us to quit doing the things we don't need to do so we can focus on the things that are the most important. And often for writers, the things that are the most important are actually writing. We think so often that it's marketing because we see people who are extremely successful doing every single thing in marketing. What we don't realize is that the reason all their marketing works is they have latched onto the demand of the readers that is there. That not just that there's a generic demand, like I want more small town romance, but very specifically, I want your brand of small town romance from you as often as you can produce it. And I will go to the mattresses about making sure that you do that as a fan. That's the demand pocket that you want to find. You don't want to just throw 1,000 marketing things at every single moment of your author career because everybody says these are all the things you should do. You want to be as smart as you can about them. And my hope with us as we are going into 2026 is that we will narrow down our focus on the things that we are great at, on the things we are better at than we're good at other things, and that we will try to get better at those things. So if I'm good at newsletters, how about I spend a year trying to be great at newsletters instead of spend a year trying to be less than mediocre at direct sales? How about I spend a year trying to write the books that I want with the tropes that I want rather than trying to write to market? How about I spend a year trying to write to market this time instead of writing the things that I have been writing that aren't selling for me? Right? Like everybody's going to be a little different. It's not like not writing to market is righteous and writing to market is bad. Everything can be good for someone, but you have to be able to find the things that are good for you. And so often it comes at the cost of experimentation or of having to pay someone or something to help you understand more about yourself. So there's a cost one way or the other. You can do something like Enneagram or strengths and try to narrow down the potential options and get some guidance, but you're probably going to have to continue to be in support communities for those, right? Which we have a Patreon, so that is our support community for that. Or you're going to have to experiment, and then it's a long game. It's a very long game. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I do think that even with strengths, there's still a good portion of your success that's experimentation because you have to find the right luck and timing. It isn't just about hard work and talent, right? But there are so many things we're doing that we don't want to be doing that aren't yielding anything for us, but we think everyone should do them, so we do them, but we shouldn't. And we should be narrowing as much as possible on the thing that we can be the best at. And I'm just going to say, some of you are doing 7 social media platforms and you should be doing one. Some of you are doing podcasts and YouTube and TikTok and blah, blah, blah. And you should really just be focusing on Instagram. Some of you are doing direct sales and Kickstarters and all these things, the translations and audio, and you should just be focusing on writing the next book and trying to find the right demand pocket. Some of you are too focused on wanting to write the next book and you don't want to market, and you should be hiring someone or finding one thing you can do that will increase your discovery. Because this is the other piece. Sometimes quitting things means quitting your own fear about something. And if you have been not marketing and you look back in your past for many years and you have been not marketing and not marketing and not marketing, if it's coming from a strengths place, it will not inhibit you growing in terms of there are people who don't thrive on social media and so they don't do it, but they thrive in other places. And so when they find the demand pocket, they're growing. So either we're not finding the demand pockets, which takes time, and this is the pain point, right? Where you are right now might be in the middle of a place. And we heard several of you in the last BFA conference that were like this. You might be in the middle of a place where you have to start a completely new genre or you have to start a new series and you don't know if you're going to have the demand pockets for that or not. So now you're looking at, what do I do with my time, right? And if you're in a place where it's going to take you a lot of time to figure out if you have that or not, I'm going to encourage you to spend some time resting, spend some time refreshing yourself, getting a vacation, not doing all the things that are not yielding for you, even if it feels like you should, even if it feels like there's something there, but you're just not finding it yet. I'm going to encourage you to take some time to rest and to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Because number five thing that I think we need to focus on in 2026, that I'm going to beg and plead all of you who are not addressing this to focus on this, which is your physical health. You have one physical body, and some of you are neglecting it to a point where it is eventually going to not show up for you anymore. And I want us to have a little bit of a wake up call, especially those of us who are transitioning into middle age, those of us who are coming into perimenopause. We may have just had some health diagnoses. I want to encourage you to narrow your focus on your physical health and to prioritize your physical health. Your body will not continue to function for you indefinitely if you don't take care of it. And I need more of us to do more of a wake up call about that. And I'm going to be doing this myself. We have some episodes that are coming up with a nutritionist and physical exercise expert that I have interviewed. We're going to do a seven deadly skills of how to care for yourself and things like that. Like, we've got some plans coming up, but I really want us to focus and hone in on caring for the vessel that we have, because we don't have an unlimited capacity to take advantage of this physical vessel and have it not eventually pay the consequences for it. So I want us to have as much of a wake up call as possible. I am not trying to be diet police, health police, those of us who grew up in diet culture. By the way, if you grew up in diet culture and you have not yet listened to the Maintenance Phase podcast, I need you to listen to that. It was absolutely life changing for me to recognize how to deconstruct some of the mentality that I had around those things. And also, they're hilarious and I love listening to them. But I am not trying to be anti fat. What I am saying is, if you don't prioritize your physical health, eventually you will be forced to, because it is not functioning for you. And I want you to do as much as you possibly can to be around and healthy for as long as you can. So in 2026, one of my priorities is going to be my physical health, but it's because I've had some really difficult health stuff happen this year and now I don't have a choice. And I really wish that I had sacrificed the time and energy 3, 4, 10, 15 years ago to get into a place that I could maintain musculature. It's not about, I'm not interested in your eating or your whatever. I'm interested in, as we age, we become less and less and less capable of doing the same physical movements if we don't maintain the body that we have, like if we don't maintain the musculature that we have. And as you age, it gets harder and harder and harder over time. And I want those of us who have the capacity, and by the way, everybody who talks about this says, doesn't matter how old you are, starting today is helpful no matter what age you're at. And also, starting today is necessary for those of us who are on the older side of 35. Like, if we're past 35, our muscles have started to degenerate. We need to do some work on that. I have an expert coming in. We're going to talk to you about that in the next couple of episodes, and hopefully those will be helpful. And then we have a Kickstarter that's planned at some point in the future. We're going to do some seven deadly skills stuff, and I'm going to include the health book in that, because I think that's really important. Anyway, okay, I have so many more things that I wish that I could talk about, but I had to narrow it down to five because I really do think that we need to narrow focus and we need to quit some things. And as much as I would love to focus on other stuff and talk about editing your business, which I guess is really technically the quit the right stuff thing, but right now I needed to talk about what what we discussed, because the disruption in the industry means that there's going to be more and more uncertainty, and we need to have the in-person community. We need to be more disconnected from the internet. We need to have bankable energy penny experiences. We need to quit things that are not yielding for us. And then we need to take care of our physical body. And I want us to become more located in the responsibility for our physical life and our physical health and physical self. So, all right. I love all of you. I want you all to be around for many, many years and producing books for many, many years. And I want us all to continue to live and thrive together. So I hope that you will join me in focusing on these 5 things, or one of those 5 things, or 4 of them. I don't care, but please put the phone down, Kevin. Okay, everybody open the manuscript together, and now we're going to quit, and I will see you on the next Quitcast, everybody. Bye.